There are two pieces of legislation before our Parliament right now which will seriously impact free speech. The MAD laws, officially the Combating Misinformation and Disinformation Bill, and the laws to ban social media for kids under 16. A world first. Hooray for Australia. Both of which, make no mistake, are having a big impact on this country's increasing reputation globally as one of the least free, supposedly free nations on earth. An over-governed nanny state is generally what people think of Australia. This is not a misperception. It's very accurate, sadly. The misinformation laws were described by the Institute of Public Affairs think tank as a chilling assault on every Australian's right to free speech. Even the Human Rights Commission, as lefty and controlling as it is, thinks the laws are bad. The bill has passed the House of Representatives, no less. That is the lower house of Parliament. Next week it goes to the Senate, the upper house, for a vote. The laws were shelved late last year and stupidly brought back this year by a tone-deaf Labor government hell-bent on wasting people's time with ideas and laws nobody wants a bar of, while continuing to ignore the country's real problems. The IPA says the new version of the bill is even worse than the first. And joining me on the show this week is Professor James Allen from the University of Queensland Law School. James, just how bad are these laws and why do they keep coming back at us?
They're really bad. We've got a visitor out from the U.S., former Democrat Michael Schellenberg, and he calls them the worst anti-free speech laws he's seen in a democracy. I mean, it's really terrible. Again, misinformation, disinformation is just jargon, so you don't think clearly. It's when you say misinformation is when you say something that turns out to be wrong, but you thought it was true, and disinformation is when you lie. And, when you just say people are lying sometimes, well, everyone knows that in politics. So they dress it up with these Latinate type words. And, the idea is the government won't be censoring you, but they're going to have huge fines on social media companies if anything is put out or allowed to stay online that is deemed to be mis or disinformation by, it'll all be pawned off on third-party fact checkers. These are the same people, by the way, Damien, that during The Voice, they found almost everything the no side said was misinformation or disinformation, and almost nothing the yes side said. The one thing I know a lot about is constitutional law. Virtually nothing the no side said was wrong. Some of it was a question of fact, and it was all right. And some of it was a question of opinion, and the fact checkers would come in. So, for instance, at one point I said, this proposal is going to give us even more activist judges. That's a claim about the future. It's an opinion. I stand by it. And the fact checkers said no. Now, how do you fact check an opinion about something that's going to happen in the future? You can't.
It's disgraceful. Well, I think the IPA did some good work around this, and they pointed out the so-called fact checkers published 187 fact-checking articles related to The Voice. 170 of those assessments, or 91% of them, targeted claims of those who supported the no case.
It is.
So that's how biased it was.
You can see it again with, if you go back to the god-awful thuggish lockdowns. One of the top 10 epidemiologists in the world, Professor Bhattacharya from Stanford, he has claimed consistently that the biggest source of mis and disinformation during the 2 years of lockdown were governments and the public health caste. Government's exempt. The university caste is exempt. This bill is going to let the whole sort of left-wing establishment say whatever they want. But
Professor Bhattacharya has now been appointed by Trump as the Secretary of Health, hasn't he?
No. So I had heard that he is the main leading candidate to run the NIH, with the National Institute of Health.
The NIH, okay.
As far as I know, he has yet to give that job, but I really hope he gets it.
That's the Fauci organization.
That's the Fauci organization, because they tried to cancel that guy. But so we've got this world where the fact checkers are all, it's like Wikipedia, they all lean one way, and this Labor government hasn't got a free speech bone in its body. But if we're going to be fair, and Damien, that's all we are in this show, the earliest iteration of this god-awful misinformation bill came from, you guessed it, the coalition. Paul Flesher set this out first, and the problem is half the party room in the coalition, they haven't got a clue about free speech. They have no core values about freedom. I'm not a libertarian. I want a strong defense, and I'm willing to pay taxes to sort of run the military and stuff. Yep. But this coalition, some of these people are worthless in the coalition ranks. Not all of them.
They're not classical liberals either.
Well,
they're just.
I just want someone who's halfway sane. Now, Dutton's doing better than Morrison by a mile, But during COVID,
He's up
Coalition
against
were thugs. Let's be honest. They were god-awful. And one of the things they didn't like was people were saying things like, there's no basis for the 6-foot social distancing. True. And there's, the evidence on masking is almost zero. True. And, these were all deemed to be mis and disinformation. What they want to do is they want to kill the interplay of ideas and debate, which normally leads you to truth. And, that's the problem.
Well, even if you take my view of the
everywhere.
world, which is that if you stand further away from someone and you put a mask on, you're less likely to pick up something from them because the spit's not going to get there or whatever, right? Okay, so even if you believe all of that, you still have a right to say there's no science behind this in this regard or that regard, and let's have a debate about it and have a healthy argument like adults without the government coming in saying, shut up, you can't talk about it.
They were censoring the
right?
3 people who co-authored the Great Barrington Declaration. These are 3 of the 5 best epidemiologists in the world.
Outrageous.
Gupta at Oxford, Kuldorf at Harvard, they've since fired him, and Bhattacharya. So you can even play their game and have all the credentials in the world. If they don't like what you're saying, this is going to be a tool for silencing you. And the problem with right of center parties is they imagine that they can set up this legislation and their side of politics will operate it. You should always say to yourself, what will the other side do with these tools?
Absolutely.
And, so here's my thing. If
Well, the left aren't saying that either, right?
No,
The left need to think, hang on a minute, this could be used against us. If we had another,
that's what we
I don't know, Joe Bjelke-Peterson type in Queensland, like when I was growing up.
This is what Trump's doing with this. What we need to do is we come in, if this gets through, and we need to put John Roscom as the safety commissioner. We need to put Andrew Bolt in charge of the ABC. We can turn this around, but you have to be prepared to say, look, these are terrible laws, but if you insist on having them, we will staff them with people that, we'll show you what can happen when you have these kind of laws, and then we can get rid of the laws.
I'm happy to do the ABC if Andrew's busy.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. But the libs come in and they make bad appointments to the court. The entire Human Rights Commission during lockdown, they were all coalition appointments, every single one of them, from the president on down.
Is this phenomena of, we want to look like we're nice and cool,
I don't know what
so
it is.
we're in power now, thank you very much, and now we'll do all these things that are nice for the left so that we look like we're bad, and we can seize the centre.
It's cowardice.
Instead of moving the centre,
Yeah.
the centre's actually moved without the Liberal Party now. I think they've just gone, okay, we're not,
the voice
you guys
helped.
are too left.
I think that's true. I mean, Douglas Murray in Britain says conservative parties in the Anglosphere, except for Trump, are unable to appoint a real conservative to anything. They seem to worry what the ABC is going to say to them, whereas the attitude should be, the ABC hates this, so I've made a good appointment.
Well, let's talk about your native Canada in relation to that. I mean, Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the opposition, who's, I think, still outpolling Trudeau.
Do you want to know what the poll was from last week?
Yeah, please.
20 points up, and Trudeau Trudeau has fallen down, and he's now tied with a minor little party, and he won't even be the official. If there were elections today, according to this poll, the Trudeau's party wouldn't even be the official opposition. They would go into oblivion.
Okay, this is in left-wing Canada. So
Left-wing
there's
Canada.
the message loud and
That's
clear
it. Yep.
for Peter Dutton and the Liberals.
Yep.
Stop listening to the small L Liberal wets in the room, even though they're the majority, because they've been keeping out Conservatives.
let's be honest.
Shut them up, shut them down, and carry on, move forward.
That's right. Half the Australian newspaper is too left, and they're just too complicit with the sort of status quo right now.
No wonder they need misinformation and censorship laws to stop us all talking.
They do. Seems like they do. So anyway, the good news is it sounds like the Senate's going to block this. So it's not a good world when you're relying on Jackie Lambie and her extended family in Tasmania to block one of the worst pieces of anti-free speech legislation ever. But there you go. You take your wins where you can get them.
Exactly. Well, this is the thing, right, in the Senate. So it's gone through the House, which is terrifying. Sorry, wrong camera again.
Yep.
And I'm learning about television today. So it's gone through the House, which is unbelievable in itself.
Unbelievable.
And now it's going to the Senate, and where you've got this ragtag of cross benches, and it looks like it's going to get thrown out of the Senate.
Thank
How
God.
are you feeling about it?
I think the chances of it getting blocked are pretty good. Part of me thinks deep down that maybe the Labour government doesn't even want it to go through at this stage because it would provoke a war with Elon Musk. On the other bill, the stopping under 16. I mean, the Liberal Party is all on board with that. Again, it's the first step in a digital ID bill because adults are going to have to sign up. I mean, this is a terrible bill, and yet, you get these you get these candidates from the Liberal Party who, when they give their first speech, I'm talking
David
about,
Coleman.
I'm talking about James Patterson.
sorry, okay.
Yeah, you know, they get up and they say freedom's the most important thing to me. And then during COVID, they were thugs, and now they can't seem to see the problem with this bill, which
And
is
David Coleman, whose clip we played last week on Sky News, wearing a red tie, by the way,
Yeah.
sitting there for 5 minutes championing the under 16 censorship bill. And I thought he was. Is he in the government? Is he part of Albo's team?
Look,
I mean,
you
what the
either
hell?
believe in parents or you don't. And this is a job for parents. And anyway, these kids are going to know how to use a VPN. It is not going to stop them. What it's going to stop is 75-year-olds. I'm not very
us.
technical. Yeah, that's right. We're not. It's such big government, and it's the first step in a digital ID. And what the coalition is doing, predictable, but what are they doing?
But
I have
why
no
are
clue.
from a PR point of view and from a political point of view, to me, it's just idiocy.
Idiocy.
They're either stupid,
Yes.
which is possible. That could be 90% of the possibility.
And they
or
brought
they're
back the
doing it-
coalition with the libertarians.
There's
They're
something
killing
dark
that.
going on
Very
under
dark.
the surface that we don't really see.
Look, I
there's
prefer
been-
Dutton to Albanese, but I wouldn't preference number one, the coalition. Put them second or third and put somebody else first, because they get money for every first preference, and the Liberal Party does not deserve your first preference. This is the disgrace. Of course we want to get rid of Albanese, who's god-awful, but if you make the Libs number your second preference and you put a small party first, it's the same thing as voting for the Libs, but they don't get your money. So I would recommend that. This is a disgrace, really.
Great to see you again, James. Have a fantastic Christmas.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
And let's see what
Merry
2025
Christmas.
brings.
Are we allowed to say that still? Can you say Merry Christmas?
Yes, we can say Merry Christmas.
Thank
We
God.
can also say Happy Hanukkah. We can
Happy
say
Hanukkah.
have a good festive season, whatever you like. It's all allowed on this show.
Don't drink too much at the Christmas party. I did in some years past, but let's just keep that quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, you better these days. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. We'll see you again in 2025. If you have a Netflix or other streaming media account from a global company and you're on holidays and log in from another country, you may have noticed that shows that are available in those other countries are different. That's because different media companies have different deals with different streaming services in different countries. Imagine being able to log into Netflix, though, as if you were in America, or maybe a country that speaks a language other than English that you speak, to access more shows, but you can do it all without leaving your couch here in Australia. Well, there is a way. There is a way. Private Internet Access VPN is a virtual private network. You download their app onto your phone, your TV, your computer, whatever you use, and it'll route your data through a different server location. Not only can you access more content, but a VPN keeps you safe and secure and your family safe so that you can't be tracked by prying eyes of big government and big corporations. And it will not massively slow down your internet speeds or make it harder to use your devices like some other VPNs do. Private Internet Access, PIA VPN. It's quick and easy to install, and once you've downloaded it, that is pretty much it. And the great news is if you sign up for PIA VPN, you are also helping the other side heaps and getting great value for money as well. And you can sign up using our special Other Side code for less than $3 a month. That's a whopping 83% off the normal price, and you'll get the first 4 months free. Just go to piavpn.com/otherside right now to get our special deal. That's piavpn.com/otherside. If you like that clip, there's more where that came from in our full show, The Other Side. You can watch it right here, the latest episode. And please subscribe to our channel by pressing the subscribe button right here or down here. And remember to click that notification bell too. It all helps. Join us and become part of The Other Side.